Hey everybody, Stephen Bogrand here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is self-care. Hey y'all, what's up? Hope everybody's having a good day. This video brought to you at night. So what's on my mind? It's that self-care, and I kind of feel like this is one of those things because I feel like we're really good at this in certain domains and really not so great at this in other domains. And of course we all have our strong suits, we all have our weak spots, but I think that it's something that definitely bears talking about because of how important it really is. It's self-care, and so self-care can mean a lot of things, right? I think as competitors, as people in the nutrition world, in the fitness community, right? Like we're really good at certain aspects of self-care. We're really great at going to the gym. You know, maybe we're really great at doing cardio, right? So we're really good at taking care of our bodies in terms of muscularity and musculoskeletal health. Maybe we're really good at taking care of our body in the aspects of doing cardio and cardiovascular heart health, right? Maybe we're really good at taking care of our body and taking care of ourselves in terms of nutrition and nutritional health. Maybe we're really good at taking care of ourselves in terms of social health and, you know, spending time with friends and family and loved ones and, you know, that emotional health aspect that things have. You know, so there's a lot of different kinds of health and self-care that kind of come into play in life. That's this whole thing that we're doing, right? And so I think that it bears mention that we talk about some of those different aspects of self-care that I think we really tend to overlook. Maybe not just as competitors, but as, you know, maybe Americans and just people in that society where we have a lot of expectations of us. And some of the younger folks out there in school that have a lot on their plate, trying to work full time and do it too. So let me kind of talk about, I think the best way to explain everything is to kind of talk about how I managed to make sure that I was taking care of myself while I was not only working full-time, but also a full-time student and trying to be a successful coach. And I think that, you know, balance doesn't always come into play. We like to talk about balance in a perfect world, whereas, you know, like, oh yeah, like I have all this semblance of balance, but it doesn't always happen that way. But we can definitely do our best to make sure that we have as much balance as possible and that we're doing the right kind of things to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, not only physically, but emotionally as well. And, you know, for some people, spiritually also. So I think for me, the biggest part was, you know, I worked in a restaurant, right? I was waiting tables and I was working full time. And I went to school, and thankfully for school, for me, we were in a cohort. So we had the same, you know, 35 to 40 people in every single class. So we got to know each other very well. It wasn't your typical college experience where maybe, you know, you were in a class of 200 people and you didn't have a lot of close friends around you all the time. There was always kind of a lot of support. We were doing things together. We studied together. We helped each other out. So it was a very, you know, close-knit in terms of my undergrad experience. So I think that in and of itself was a huge benefit. Had I not had that, I definitely would have been more involved and, you know, dependent on my friends and that social structure to help build me up and pull me through. That being said, you know, being outgoing enough and sort of taking some chances to do some things to meet people where you're at and around, to have that social construct around you to encourage you is very important. It's easy to meet people at the gym, you know. It just takes a little bit of outgoing nature, and that's it. You know, maybe a hi, maybe like, hey man, your squats look really good, or like, wow, I really like those deadlift shoes, where'd you buy them? You know, simple things like that, things that aren't going to be misconstrued as us trying to hit on somebody or being, you know, aggressive in that kind of manner, but that open up the opportunity for us to start to get to know some people that maybe seem interesting, that maybe we'll just get along with, you know. I think for us as fitness individuals, the gym is a really great place to meet new friends. Simply because, you know, at the very least we understand, you know, that there's some semblance of fitness and health in our lives that we want, you know, to make important to us. So we're carving out time in our lives. Having support for that is going to be big. Obviously, if you're watching my channel, health and fitness is a big deal to you. So finding people that share in those values can be very important. Now, they don't have to share in all of our values. They might not have to have the exact same level of adherence to it, but understanding it is important, because when we understand one another's values, we can support them better. I think for me, self-care, the biggest part of it is the emotional, right? It's that emotional and social upbringing that we need. I think so often, and I think it's easy to do because of, social media, right? It's really easy to sort of quarantine ourselves and do our own thing and go throughout our day and not really have any real interaction with people. And I don't mean like superficial, hey, how you doing? Yeah, the wife's great, the weather's nice, it's raining out here, like I can hear it, it's wet, my wall's broken and the shit's coming in the house. I'm talking about like real interaction, like where people truly get to know you, where you open up, where there's some vulnerability there, where you guys really understand and support and help each other through hard times in life. It is important to be vulnerable. And I think that in a society where very often we kind of get away from vulnerability and being open about who we are and the things that are, troubling us and we're having a hard time with, that is a huge, huge mistake. I think that it only makes us weaker as individuals. So for me, one of the biggest parts of self-care is getting over that fear of being vulnerable, finding a social group, people around you to surround yourself with that are going to help you take care of yourself, that are going to help lift you up, bring you to a better spot when you're down, and just sort of make life a little bit better. It's important that we have people to share things with. So I think one of the other things that we're really, really terrible about, I know I am, and I know I have been in the past, and it's something I continually am trying to get better at, getting out, taking time away from the gym and away from all the super active, like, I'm a health nut stuff. Yeah. And just like having fun, like, hey, I'm gonna take my dog out, we're gonna go to the brewery, I'm gonna meet up with some friends, we're just gonna talk. We're gonna talk about girls, we're gonna talk about dating, we're gonna talk about motorcycles, we're gonna talk about beer, like just dumb stuff. We'll talk about video games or comic books, like it doesn't matter, something that just sort of gets me out of the rut that maybe I'm in, something that gets me out of my normal what to do. Because it's important. Like, it's important that we're not one-dimensional. Nobody is one-dimensional. Everyone has so many different facets and layers to them. They're like an onion. What's that movie? I know what the movie was. So it's really important that we take that into consideration and we don't just try and feed one aspect of ourselves, right? We have many different emotional and social needs, and we need to take that into account to make sure that we're doing the right things to meet those needs. I think quite often we like to ignore those needs, and we like to ignore the fact that we have those things that really need feeding, right? We're good at feeding our muscles with training. We're good at feeding our body with food. We're good at doing this, that, this. It's very easy to overlook some of those, very simple things that are necessary. So, guys, it's just something that I really realized, that carving out personal time for me to even sometimes simply do nothing. Stress management. It's simple stress management, guys. It's a real big what to do around saying we have all these different good stresses, bad stresses, whatever they might be, that build up in our lives. We have to find great ways and positive ways to deal with those so that they're not building up, because what tends to happen is everything builds up, and then we're breaking down. But when we take the time to really address those, to say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, why do I feel this way today, to look at it, simple things can help it, progressive relaxation, green exercise, going outside, again, social environments, being around friends, people that lift you up, surrounding yourself with positivity. There are so many different things that you can do to help with this. So that's it, guys. I want to talk a little bit about self-care, a couple of the big things that I think quite often get overlooked. So hopefully it resonates with you guys. Maybe it reminds you of some things that maybe you've been missing and can help add some quality to your life. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm gonna go get some sleep. So I'll talk to you guys soon.